Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Kiss My Ass University tutoring sessions, the only channel on the internet where you can see actual live business tutoring sessions of a developing, budding business. In this case, the Japanese study notes. Joanna, hello there.
Hello.
And we have a list of questions for what is your third coaching session, which I have in front of me.
Fourth.
Is this the fourth already? Oh my God.
Yeah, it's number 4, but on the previous one, we had only psychological question, no technical.
Okay, so we got some technical questions today.
Yes,
Good.
because I made some progress, so some technical questions appear now.
Very good. And this time I am only in Bangkok, so the internet is actually working much better than before. We get decent quality video. So you can read the questions. You shoot the questions.
Okay, so in the video number 2, you told, we was talking about the copyrights.
Yes.
And you add, copyrights.
Yes.
Yeah, and you advised me to check Amazon Kindle if I can and check if I can use content from that place. And I cannot use that. It will not help. So you told me that if I cannot use that, I should email many companies, publishing houses, and check if they want to cooperate with me. So so in the meantime, I did the website, and I did the samples of what I want to sell. But now the problem I have, I'm not sure what exactly can I ask them about.
Just a moment, because we got an audio problem here. I seem to have become unable to turn down the volume. I'm afraid this is going to make a video. All right, I got my headset. So who told you that it's not okay to use their content? You're referring to, I think, a suggestion to, and for people who haven't watched the other videos, I guess all I can say is go watch the other videos. But she's creating some study notes since her major in school was Japanese language, and she's lived in Japan, and she also worked in the comics industry. So her business idea was to create some study notes where people can learn the language while reading manga. And there was a discussion, I think, previously as to instead of explaining the grammar by yourself, why not just link to grammatical explanations that already exist? So what is the news on that? You're saying you cannot use that?
I mean, no, it's about something else now.
It's about something else?
Yes. You didn't understand me.
Okay, try asking me again.
Yeah, because I was supposed to use because I want to make study notes based on real sources, like real manga, real doujinshi, and so on. But to use that, I need to have the permission.
I see. Well, that permission is going to come down to the each individual author, right?
Yes. Yeah. So. Yeah, because that's the only way I can do it. I cannot buy manga from Amazon. I have to ask them so they can send me the content.
Well, we
and they can give me permission.
Okay, but we talked about 2 different options. One of them was that you reproduce their content. So if you're going to have the whole manga, then of course it's a good idea to get permission. You know, if you're small, and especially if you're talking about doujinshi, these are just guys making the stuff. You know, they have a team of lawyers, so they should also be quite simple to get their permission. You just tell them that they're going to get some exposure, and people are going to foreign people are going to study using their manga. I think they will have nothing against that.
Yeah, but like basically my question is, because what I can ask them about the email. Like first thing I was thinking about doing is that getting whole manga from them and sell whole manga with notes on my website. So the customers pays for the manga, and the price for the manga goes for the author, but the additional codes for the notes goes for me. I don't know if you get what I mean.
You want to sell together both the manga and the notes, but the notes are printed separately, right?
I mean, basically, I applied notes on the manga.
What?
I mean, on the website, what I could do, I applied notes on the manga. So it's kind of together.
Yeah, I noticed that you had a on-click event, and when you click on the balloon, or when you click on the text, then you get notes from it. So are you saying that you want to sell the physical manga, the paper manga on your website?
I mean, I want to sell it online.
And who's going to carry the stock?
I mean, if it's an online content.
Oh, you want to sell it in digital format?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So it sounds not a problem. So what is the question?
Okay. So that's what I want to ask them about. First, they give me the manga, and I get the money from me selling the manga with notes. But second thing I wanted to do, I wanted to make study notes also from not whole mangas, because it takes time to do it, but also from single pages and even single scenes from the manga. And I was wondering if they can give me that for free.
Well, you have to ask them.
Okay, so you think they might agree? It's not like...
I think they've never had this kind of proposal. So the best way is for you to figure out what they want, make sure they understand there's some benefit for them, and then give them a few options and talk to them directly, talk to them on the phone if possible, and agree to something. These are people, the doujinshi creators are just regular individuals. So if they can make a little bit of money instead of zero for them, I think they will agree to a lot of stuff.
Okay, but at the same time, I also made a list of people who I want to write, and I also wanted to write to the biggest publishing houses. But honestly, I don't have so many hopes that they answer me. Or they want to cooperate.
You can write once, and then if they don't answer or they don't want to do it, then write them again after you get a website, and then write them again after you get some manga, and then after you get some users, it becomes interesting for them.
Yeah, I think so.
With the big guys, you have to follow a little different strategy. So
yes.
I think it's good to start small. At least you put some stuff up, and you have a website, and you can get some users.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to make some concrete steps.
And these doujinshi, there's literally tens of thousands of people. Correct me if I'm wrong, but these are people self-making manga. For people who don't understand what we're talking about, the doujinshi are manga that are produced by single individuals who are small teams, not going through a publishing house. So they normally lack the means to distribute these things. They just leave them in specialized shops in Tokyo, and I doubt very much that they have a high volume of sales. So since they're not making a lot of money, they're going to be eager to expand their market in any way that they can, especially if you tell them that you're going to sell them with the study notes, because that means that you're not competing with them. If they want to sell their own manga online on their website, they can also do it. So if people just want the manga, they can buy it from them, or they can buy it from you. But from them, it's cheaper, because from you, they also have to get the notes, right? So I think this is not a crazy proposal. Most likely, you will get a lot of interest from them. And so if you have 2 or 3, of course, it doesn't help you very much. So I wish you to have hundreds of different creators on your website, and the easiest way is not to contact them individually, but if you can contact the shops directly in Tokyo that are selling these things, then they might go through the shop also for the payments, and the shop also makes a little bit of money, but you already have the channel to all these guys. You don't need to contact each one individually.
Okay, so it's better to contact the shops, not the authors, yeah?
I think do both.
Okay, it might be a good idea. And another question, like I wanted to ask, is more like about the law. Is it, if I use their content, is it, if they write me in an email that I can use it, is it enough? Or I should also ask them to some permission or paper, some document?
Well, there are many layers of documentation that you could want from them. Ideally, if you have investors, you should have your own lawyers to draft some kind of agreement. But the document itself might cost you thousands of dollars. So from where you are right now, I think just download some kind of licensing thing on the internet, or some right to redistribute, and you got to find something that's as close as possible to what you're doing, and then use that as standard language. But because they're Japanese, I'm not sure that if they're gonna want to sign stuff that's in English. Also, when there's a contract, all signed paperwork has to obey some kind of country's law. And so if you're signing an agreement with them, you're in Poland and they're in Japan, so you got to figure out what laws is this agreement going to follow. And of course, you want to make it so that it's in your favor, which means that you should tell them that this is going to follow Polish law, which of course means that if they have any problem, they need to come to Poland to sue you in Polish, which they're never going to do. So that
yes, I know. So
protection, but mostly I don't think you're going to get into any litigation from these guys. I don't think it's a huge issue, but it's still responsible to get find something that is similar from the internet, download it, and then you could translate it, since you're a translator, translate it into Japanese, so get them to sign both versions, and you keep it on file, so that if next month you're making $1 million and these guys want half of it and they want to sue you, then you get some defense.
So basically, it's not stupid that I should think about it now. And
no, you should think about it now, but don't think about it too much. Just download some kind of document that seems like it's basically what you need, and don't make it a priority when you talk to them. First, get the agreement, and then once you already agree on everything and they're happy, then say, by the way, could you please sign this one? It's just for legal reasons. I need to get a signature.
Okay.
So that you don't freak them out, because a lot of people that are not business savvy, they're scared of signing documents.
Yeah, so that might be a good thing to note. And another thing I wanted to ask, because I just made a website, I just made some content, but I wonder if I'm already at this point. I mean, before I should start doing any sales, I need to register as a company, yes?
I don't think so. Don't worry about that. Start making some money.
Okay, so it's not something urgent that I need to think about registering the law
No.
Not yet.
All depends on the payments. How do you want to receive payment?
I mean, honestly, PayPal should be the best option. It's like the most universal. I can also connect that. If I send it in Poland, I can connect that to Polish eBay and sell through that.
Yeah, use PayPal. PayPal, you can use it as an individual, right? So it's not too professional when they come to pay for the notes, but you can mitigate that, because you're just talking about on the website. You're saying, "I'm Joanna." You're not pretending to be a big company. You just say, "I'm doing this." So that's part of your marketing strategy. So I don't see any problem. Just get payment to your personal PayPal address by PayPal, and that's it. So you don't need to have a company. Also, according to the Polish law, which you have to research, there's probably a limit where if you exceed that limit in PayPal earnings, then you need to report it. And below that limit, then you don't care. So the idea is once you reach that limit, you better think about a way to do things.
Okay. Because I can make a PayPal and also a normal bank transfer. But again, that will be only to Poland. Because bank transfer abroad is too expensive. So I can make this option, but most people will not use it anyway.
Your clients, where are your clients from? Are you catering to mostly Polish audience, or?
I think both.
Well, accepting bank transfers is very easy, does not cost you anything, so.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I think at first I will focus mostly on Poland because it's the easiest for me to advertise in Poland.
Okay.
Just for now, but I want to create content in English and in Polish. And for now, I have only English because I want to give some samples to the authors I will contact with. So if it's in Polish, they will not understand us. So I just wanted to start from English.
Hey guys, if you want to learn Japanese, the best way is to read the notes in Polish. Got it?
Yeah.
That will make it all very clear for you.
Yes. So nobody speaks Polish, only in Poland. So.
Okay.
And I had also one, again, copyright, but it's a very small question. Because I had the few ideas how to sell the notes. I wanted to sell whole mangas and apply its notes on them, and sell single scenes from the manga, and also apply notes on them. And everything would be in digital form, but I also want to do it in a paper form. Something that, in a way, it looks nice. Like, for example, you have a paper, one page you have some manga scene, on the other hand side you have the explanation.
Okay.
Some people would buy it also because it looks nice, not only because they want to learn.
Sure.
So I also I thought about an option on the website. If I make this one, I made an option of the custom orders. So I can make notes from anything somebody sent me.
Okay, that seems like a good idea to start.
Yes, so then again, they can send me something which is kind of, they can send me a cover, for example, from a famous manga. So I think I would just email them, write them some rules on the website, that I'm not responsible for the copyrights of the thing they send me. You know what I mean?
Right.
That if they send me something to me and I make it only for them, I don't care if it's legal or not.
Well, what are you sending them? Are you just sending them the notes, right? Not the whole product.
Yes, they send me the product. So
you're not reproducing the artwork on the manga, are you?
No, I'm not.
So then you don't need to worry about copyright at all.
Yeah. So this is
you are like an independent contractor that's being hired to translate the document. You're not offering anything for sale. You're providing professional services, so you're not on the line for copyright infringement. There also nobody would know about it.
Yeah, so it's like a simple idea, and I think there's nothing.
You know, the world works on money. You know, people don't sue you because they think you're a bad person. They sue you because they want money, or because you're damaging their earnings and they want to put you out of business, or because you're their competitors and they want to put you out of business. So until you're making money, no one's ever going to sue you for any reason. And so you don't have to worry too much about these things ahead of time.
Okay.
Just don't base your business plan on something illegal, because then if it becomes big, there's no way to protect yourself. But all of these things are not your concern right now. Just do a minimum of due diligence get the paper signed from the authors if you can. Even if you can't, I don't think it's a huge problem.
Yeah, because as I see, even in the Polish, this manga market, many people sell some things. They reproduce some image from the mangas, and I think that most of them is theoretically illegal. But
and who's gonna get them, because they're in Japan? You know how much it costs to do an international lawsuit, especially from a country that is completely culturally, legally, and grammatically different, like Japan. They would have to be able to gain hundreds of thousands of dollars to come out after you. So unless there's that incentive,
there is no use to sue somebody small.
There's no use. They can't even do it. I mean, these authors that are publishing their manga, they don't have the money to sue you, even if they wanted to.
Yeah, but still, I want to be careful. So
I think it's more important to. I think you have to be friends with them because you're building a community. Then at some point you might have your own specific manga that's on your website, or I don't know, anywhere. You want to build the connections, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Do you have any hard questions?
Hard questions. Not really. Like from the technical, it's all finished. From the psychological, there is one thing. Okay, I wrote you 3 questions, but now I think only one is the thing that is bothering me. That because the thing I'm doing Japanese study notes is there is nobody else doing that. I mean, there are many things, materials for learning Japanese on the internet, on the market, but nothing like that. But somebody told me that doing what I'm doing, it's no use, because even if I have the idea that nobody else has, if it works well, some bigger company will do the same as me, and they will kick me out of the market because they have more connections and more ways and so on.
Well, once you're successful, war begins. So now you're at the point where you're starting something from nothing, right? And then if you start to make money, of course, there's a war beyond that. And you have to use your own assets, and they want to use their own assets. And war sometimes means alliance, because you're not an enemy for anybody. You're too small. But maybe some big publishing company has a real enemy that's another publishing company, and they are looking for ways to differentiate their stuff that they offer. And so for them, it would be a very good idea to buy your company, because then they have this and that other thing. So suppose that you're already well underway and you've got a lot of content that you've created as far as study notes. Let's say you have 100 manga, all with the study notes. And then you have doujin magazines that people cannot get. They can only get it in paper in Akihabara. But with you, they have the PDF, and you got the author's consent, plus the study notes. Plus, maybe it's not just you now, but you got 4 or 5 other people creating the study notes, and you got your own artwork, your own process, and an existing customer base. At that point, to recreate all of that would take so much work that companies prefer to buy you, and by that time, you should have a company. And then you tell them, no problem, I just want $4 million, and you can just pay me $2 million immediately, and then I remain available for you. I can help you out for the next 6 months. So write a contract, and then after 6 months, you give me the other $2 million, and then you tell the world to kiss your ass, and you're done.
Okay, so rather than kick me out, they might want to ally with me, use me. So
yes, but you have to be in possession of something that is hard to recreate. Sometimes that means content, but sometimes it means know-how. Sometimes it means connections, and sometimes it means having a team, because to create a team of people that have the right expertise is not easy. So it all depends how your business is going to go. But from the beginning, you have to worry about defensibility, because that's The observation that they made is not stupid. You have to worry about what happens if I'm successful. How easy is it for other companies to do the same thing? And you have to think these publishing companies usually are very big. And when they're very big, they're very orthodox, especially Japanese companies. So for them to think that now they're going to change and they're going to do this new thing, even if you went there and you said, please take my business, I give it to you for free, do this, they will say, oh, we have to create a new department. Who's going to do this? I'm not sure he's going to agree, and then he doesn't agree, and then they're still not going to do it. My experience, So you're not dealing with high tech, high technology companies that are always on the tiptoes, waiting and looking for new opportunities. So I wouldn't worry about it too much, but think about how to defend it. You have to make it difficult to copy. Do you have any way to make it difficult to copy it?
Yeah, how can it be? I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking like, how can I do it in the way that nobody, because for sure not anybody can do the same as me. But it's not that nobody would be able to do it.
Right. So I mean, there's one video I made, Passion Smells Like Pussy, right? And it talks about how even things that anybody can make, but if you really like it, then you can make it better. And it's not that other people are not good enough or that they don't have the time. They have all the need, but they just don't care enough. And if a company likes what you're doing, and they might contact you and they might say, do you want to work for us? Because it looks like you're really good at this and you really like it. Even if they don't make you an offer to buy your company, they might still say, can we hire you? And then you can say, okay, fine, but I'm not going to go to your office. You can hire me, but I'm going to work from Tahiti, and I want 10 grand a month. And plus I want a percentage of the sales. You could say something like that, because I think eventually, since you're starting from zero, all you're trying to do now is to get your freedom. So to get the freedom is quite easy. You don't need to win against big companies to get your freedom. You just need to create a little bit of a residual income, whether it's from your people buying your stuff online, or whether it's a company that now is paying you a fixed salary to work from wherever you want, plus they're paying some royalties on the sales. That's still pretty good. You would get to do a job that you like, working with manga, working with Japanese, with extremely high levels of freedom, with a very good salary coming in, and plus also bonus, depending on how much you sell. But it's good to know what your exit strategy is from the beginning, because this is called the exit strategy. So how do you want to exit from the business? Or do you even want to exit? Or do you want to say, since I love this and I don't love anything else, then I just want to make this business, my business for life. So like when I forgot his Google offered to buy YouTube in the beginning for $3 billion, and they said no. So you got to know what you're shooting for. If you want to keep the business and you want to take it to becoming huge, then the defensibility is much more important. Because as on your way to huge, you're going to reach mid-size and the large size, and then when it's large, of course, you have competitors. So the defensibility could be many different things. It could be, for example, very easy, your own personality. If you call it Joanna's nose, and let's say there's your anime character with your face on the side of every note that says, this is me. Then you could trademark your anime face, so that now you got your own brand. So if somebody makes if somebody makes Satoshi manga notes, nobody wants fucking Satoshi. They want Joanna because they're used to it.
Yeah, I mean that would be a good idea to add more like personal touch to the website.
Right, because that ties that brand to your person. Then it cannot be detached from your person easily. That's one thing.
Yeah. For now, the only thing I did is just I put section about me on the website, and I add a link to my Facebook page, which is only for the notes, like me who is making the notes, not my official Facebook. So But
so maybe this is your homework for the next time, is to find all the ways in which you can defend yourself if somebody else wants to start to make the same notes. You got to find something that the customer likes, which is not easy to reproduce.
Okay.
Right? Because sometimes you're in a market that's so small that that is already providing to you defensibility, because nobody cares. It's like if you're an ant and you want a little piece of bread, the dog is not going to come and steal that from you. Doesn't care about your little breadcrumb. So you're safe. No one else wants that. And of course, understanding market size is quite complex. You have to do some magic to try to get a feeling for how big is the market. If you're writing it in Polish, surely you've further segmented the market, because one thing is study notes in English. Study notes in Polish. How many people can compete with you to make Japanese study notes in Polish? They already have to be Polish, and they have to speak Japanese, and they have to be business oriented, so they want to have their own business. And then they need to replicate everything that you're already doing, and they need to join Kiss My Ass University. And then they're going to think, oh, somebody else is already doing that, so it's impossible. So.
Yeah.
All right, but all the reasons that you can find, all the ways that you can find to make this difficult to replicate are good. For example, if you invent a way to display the notes that is very, very convenient. I don't know, let's say you have a, can you hear me?
If you invent the way, and
for example, if you invent a way to display the notes that is very convenient, like for example, this is not completely related, but let's say you were translating the manga, okay? So you're not explaining the grammar, but let's say you're just translating. You could make like a half-transparent piece of paper that you put it on the page and it replaces all the text with English text, for example, right? Or then you could make like a machine with a mirror inside where you put the manga inside and it inverts the pages, because then when you translate it to English, you also have to flip the pages. So this is just stupid examples for something else. You're doing the notes, you're not doing the translation. But if you can find an interesting way to display the notes, then you could also get some kind of intellectual property protection for that particular way. So then, okay, they can do their own notes, but they can't copy your system because that system, I don't know, whatever, is patented, or whatever kind of protection you can get on it. One way of creating defensibility is to put people into the equation. For example, and I'm trying to make a point by giving examples, so maybe they're not completely related to what you're doing, but imagine that you find a lot of Japanese girls online that help you to study the manga, and they do video chat with you. That would be hard to replicate, because you got to find those people and then train them how to teach people, right? So that's an example of how having collaborators makes it more difficult to copy. Because you got to have something else than the ability to write in Japanese. That's clear. Because nobody pays you just because you know Japanese. There's infinite people who know the language. You got to have something else. And that something else is got to be not easy to copy or to recreate. But even if they steal your business when you're big, you're still much better off than if you get a job in a company. At least you've made a lot of money by then, and maybe you've got new ideas. And you can try again. But certainly, if you're going to work hard on something, you want it to be something that you can protect. So I think that's your homework, to think about that.
Okay.
Is that all your questions?
Yeah, that's all.
Well, that was very short, maybe a little bit too easy. So I'm looking at, is your website something that we can give to people watching this video, or is it better to keep it secret?
I think nothing will happen if you make it public.
Okay. So should I give it then?
Yeah, it's okay because I
Maybe
think
you get some customers.
yeah. Anyway, viewers of Kiss My Ass University, I think no many of them could be my competitors or even clients. So
Right. Maybe
there's no
clients. Who
problem.
knows? So the address is you can give it to people.
I mean, the address is something I will change still. It's better if you give the link because the address is
Okay, I'll put it in the description.
Yes.
So I noticed that you highlighted every word, and for every word there's notes. Yes.
Yes, I mean you have how to use section. When you have explanation how to use the notes, and then you go to free samples.
I noticed that you didn't translate the sounds. There's a lot of sounds in these mangas, like g or p.
Yes, because first of all, it's too much work, and secondly, it's not useful for anybody.
Well,
like
actually,
sounds from the manga is.
Well, but actually, these sounds, some people might want to know why they use za instead of something else. Like, why is the sound of this finger P? My fingers don't do P when I snap my fingers. You might want to translate this stuff. I'm thinking if I was the client. Also, one thing that never gets explained is, other than the words, why did they use that particular expression and nothing else? Because Japanese is very nuanced, so there's many ways you can say something. For example, why she's saying instead of hi. Some beginner student might not know what's the difference because they both mean yes. Or, for example, there's a kanji ao, aeru, and that ao, there are two different kanjis to write ao, and they're read the same, but the meaning is slightly different depending on which kanji to use. So I would make it a little bit deeper so that even if you know the language, but you want to understand really what's the nuance, what did the author want to convey by using the particular wording, that can be very valuable to people who are learning the language.
Okay. But still, I think it's something I will use later because this one I just want to use as samples for the people I contact with. Sure. So I don't want to spend so much time on something I might not use. But you might have a good point.
Hore. Onushi. Let's see if you explain onushi. You old Japanese, right? And then we have to explain
it's an old form, so.
Okay, great. Okay.
The sounds, for example. Okay, finish.
No, up to you.
I mean, I was talking. There are too many sounds in hentai, for example. It's.
Yeah, hentai sounds.
It's too. Like translating sounds on hentai, it's very difficult. I have no idea.
Let me see what kind of sounds. It could be interesting though. I remember there's one where like he's dating this girl who's slightly old and he's commenting that like she's ripe or something.
Yeah, so for the sounds in hentai, I would need a help of both Japanese and even native English speakers because
right. Like
I don't know how to.
the noise of this guy fucking this old woman is zupu zupu. So I wonder if that's the sound old women make when you fuck them. It's zupu, or if it goes for everybody.
Yeah. So.
Interesting. Well, you got a lot of interesting work translating this hentai. Sono baderei posareta. Be careful because you got rape became a rape in the notes.
Okay.
Okay, so these were easy questions, so that's good because it means that you're not having major difficulties. So what have you done until now? You've got a website with the samples. Anything else? I remember you had this like 2 weeks ago or more.
I mean, I spent too many times on. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on making the website.
Yeah.
On figuring out how to put the notes on the on the, like, in this digital form. And also, actually, that was one of my psychological questions, because I wasted now I noticed I wasted too much time on making the samples. Because the thing I put online are not the only one I started to do. I did much more. And
Okay.
I will not use it anyway. And even for the samples, it would be enough if I had 2 pages, not that much. So basically, it was my, I don't know, like, mistake on the strategy. So
Why is it taking long?
because to explain all of the grammar, I had to prepare write everything down. Like, explain all of the grammar form in a simple way. And I couldn't just copy paste, so.
Well, I'm going to give you my
That's actually my
suggestion here,
problem.
okay? From the point of view of somebody who studied Japanese before, and I remember when I didn't understand it and I was trying to read manga, it was really, really difficult. The problem with a lot of, well, I can't say a lot of, because I never used any study notes, but the way that you've explained this thing right here, right? If you take the same style of manga and how Japanese books teach you, because they're very, very kind, they all make everything very, very simple to understand, and you know, there's a character talking to you, right? This way of just getting the translation when you click on the word is one thing that you can do. But the other thing is take not everything, but some interesting things. Like, for example, where it says onushi, which is only used in old Japanese, right? You could have a little chapter there that shows what are the differences between modern Japanese and old Japanese, and what is the reason that sometimes they use old Japanese in the comic books. For example, well, if it's a story about old Japan, they might use old Japanese. But of course, they don't use all Japanese, because then nobody would understand what they're saying, but they just use some expressions. So what other expressions get kept for when they're portraying scenes in old Japan? And also, they also use the stuff when they're showing a very elderly character. So when older people talk, usually they talk a little bit different from young people. So you could have a whole little chapter there that explains why they decided to use onushi here. And I think that would be quite interesting, because then you're really learning a little bit more deeply. You're not just understanding what they say is one thing, but also you're trying to understand why the author used that particular way to indicate what nuance. I remember when I was studying, I got the, Nausicaa, Miyazaki Nausicaa, and all the styles of speech that were all completely different. There's Obaba-sama speaking almost entirely in old Japanese, and then there was Yupa, I think his name is, and he was ending everything in nja, and I couldn't even find it on the dictionary. So, and then what else was difficult? They made up words. So, for example, fukai is the rotten ocean, but you don't know, is that a real word in Japanese? Is there fukai? No, they just made it up, right? So that would have been helpful to have a note. This is just, they made it up. Which then my question would be, okay, so if somebody tells you fukai without ever reading it, would you know that that means the rotten sea? Probably not. So that would also have been helpful. Like, this is not a word that people would use even if they want to create a word, but it has to be written. So the question is, how then in the anime, they still use that, because it's, I think the dialogues were directly taken from the animation. So how does one know what fukai is in the anime when you can't see the character? So there's a lot of depth that you could go into, which I think the people who really like manga and are crazy about the stuff, but they just want to learn the language, you could really do a fantastic work there, going in depth in explaining things that for Japanese are evident because they speak the language. But if a foreigner is reading it and they just see the English, they're missing out on 80% of the nuance. I know that's going to make it even more. It's going to make it even more time-consuming to make them. But you want to get paid for it, so if it takes a long time to make them, it's good for you, right? Because then you did some work.
My major problem is that making these notes takes me much more time than I thought in the beginning. It's very time consuming. That's why I want to focus on making even the single scenes, not whole mangas.
How much time is it taking, and how much time did you think it was going to take?
I'm not sure how to say. I mean, now I'm doing that faster and faster now because I already prepared the list of all of the grammar forms, so I can just copy paste. But
something that I'm thinking right now is, are you creating it? I think you're not creating a database. You're just writing everything every time, right?
I mean, no. I mean, I created the. I mean, in PDF, I created the list of all of the grammar forms I used. So now I'm just copy pasting.
The idea is that you're going to make this work once, and then you're going to sell it to many people without ever doing any work again, right? So if it takes you 10 days to make a manga, right? Let's say 10 days times 8 hours a day is 80 hours. And then let's say that you sell it for $5. And then let's say that you sell 100 copies. That becomes $500. You divide it by 80, and you figure out that you're making $6 an hour. That's not very good. So instead, what you want to do is say how many. It's a little bit of an employee reasoning here, but as you're starting out, just to make sure that you're not putting too much work in it. If you're working 80 hours and you're saying, I want to be making at least $50 an hour, and you find that you have to make $4,000 from that manga, right? And then you divide it by the price at $5, you would have to sell 800 copies to make $50 an hour for 80 hours by selling each for $5. So you can do some of these calculations. But overall, isn't it good for your defensibility that it takes time? I mean, if you could just do it in 5 minutes, then anybody could do it.
Yeah, so definitely it's good for defensibility.
But try to find ways to do it fast. What is taking time now? Is it just the language, or is it because you're using this WordPress thing?
I mean, WordPress is already done. I finished. There's nothing, now I know how to manage that.
I mean, every time you're defining an area on the page where you're supposed to click to get a certain translation. So I take it that takes time as well, right? To define the hotspot.
Yeah, that's also.
So you have to make sure that the technical stuff doesn't take time.
Mostly explaining the grammar was taking the most of time. But now it's going faster because I told you I made the list of everything I use.
Okay. Well, that's the basic rock bottom level of work that you have to do, is to create the study notes, because that's what you're selling, the study notes. So you have to sell enough to make it worth your time. So when will you have something ready to sell? And I was going to say also in regards with your idea of just making some scenes, I think that making the whole manga is far better, because at least you get the satisfaction that you read a whole manga. Whereas if you just do one scene, then what's the advantage of reading from the manga? Because anyway, it's you're not getting any sense of story there. I think you have more value if you do one complete manga instead of doing the same number of pages that are all disconnected.
Yeah, so I just need to have something short in the beginning. That will solve the problem.
Well, the other thing you could do is
to... very short, so...
Or do all hentai where it's just sound. Then it's easy. Just translate the sounds. No, I was going to say, you can make different levels of study notes. Like, for example, take the beginner. Maybe the beginner does not want an explanation for every single thing. They just want to know the main words. And then they're just going to study words. And then you could go back after you're already selling the level 1. You take the level 1 and you add stuff, and then that becomes a level 2 with more explanations. Until you get to level 5, where it's explaining everything, all the punctuation and the choice of words and so on. That allows you to start selling with a very partial annotation. And start making experiments, because you keep putting time into this, so you want to have some clients as soon as possible buying some stuff, okay? And you do that experiment. Okay.
Okay. And yeah, that's all I have.
That's all the questions we had for today. Yes. As you see, people, a lot of businesses just figuring out very small details, but you have to figure them out a little bit at a time. And we're going to put a little marking on the bottom right of the screen now that says Tsuzuka, like they do for anime. Means to be continued. So the next time we want to see your defensibility analysis. And what else? Any other task? What do you plan to have for the next time?
Already some content to sell.
To sell. Okay, so ready for sale on your website, integrated with PayPal, so that if somebody wants it, they can buy it.
Yes.
Yes? By the way, how are you going to sell it? Because right now it works on your website, they click, and it's using JavaScript. So when you sell it, what are you going to give to people? You're going to give HTML and JavaScript? Or?
I mean, basically you can just...
Or you give them access?
That's one of the things I was worried about. But you on the plugins on WordPress, when you can sell even the single pages of the access, you can buy the subscription, or you can buy the access to single pages of the website.
Okay, so you're going to sell access.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. So the next time we talk, you're going to be ready for business. Very good.
Yeah.
All right, then. This concludes our tutoring session. Thanks, everybody, for watching through, even though I think if they're not seeing the site, they might not know. Okay, I got to remember to put it in the description. That's all. Thanks, Joanna. Speak soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.